A key plank of our job creation strategy is the novel 24-hour economy program. This program has caught the fancy of many young people across the country. This innovative program is designed to create a thriving economic environment that operates round the clock, fostering a multitude of employment opportunities for young people. Under the 24-hour economic program, we'll focus on revitalizing existing and dormant industries. And so we're going to invest in bringing industries that have collapsed back on stream, and existing industries that are not performing well, we're going to invest in them so that they can create more employment for young people. We will invest in fostering the growth of emerging sectors that have the potential to operate beyond traditional working hours. By extending the business hours and encouraging businesses to operate during evenings and at weekends, we aim to maximize productivity and create a diverse range of jobs that cater for the needs and aspirations of our youth. This initiative, I'm convinced, will not be smoothly implemented without the involvement of the private sector. My administration will therefore work closely with the private sector, which presently employs 90% of the workforce, according to the Ghana GSS 2021, including business entrepreneurs and investors. By fostering partnerships and providing incentives, we'll grant the private sector some tax reliefs to encourage them to embrace and operationalize the 24-hour economy policy. We will incentivize them to expand their operations and create new job opportunities. This collaborative effort with the private sector will not only stimulate economic growth, but also enable the youth to gain valuable employment experience and contribute to the. If you go to modern schools, modern tertiary institutions, they have agreements with industry and with business. And so they send their young people on internship to go and work. Indeed, there's a part of the school year where half the year, 6 months, the children are not in school. They are out in the field working and gaining practical experience for what they are being taught. And then when school opens, they come back. But that is the business of your school, to sign partnerships with business industry and place your students there. Right now, I see all the universities just give their students a letter and say, go and find a place and do internship. So the children come around, uncle, can you get me a place to do my internship? Then you have to call people you know and say, oh, can you accept my nephew to do his internship? I think that in a major way, you must go out and court companies and say, look, can you give us 2 places every year? You go to another company, can you give us 3 places every year? We want to bring our students to come and do internships. All you need to do is give them transport to come to work every day, that's all. And go to Jata Cement, go to the industrial area, go to the business processing centers, and get all those fintechs and all of them. And sign agreements, 2 a year, 3 a year, 4 a year, 5 a year. And then you send your students there. And part of the school year, they must be there doing the internships. Government is not going to be able to be the one to go around the businesses and say give internships to universities. It is one of the responsibilities that you must take up so that your students can have the kind of practical education that they need. And so the lecturer from business school, please just go around as a business school, write to industries and say, look, this is our business school, this is what we're teaching. We want to practicalize the education, and so every year we want you to give us some places to bring our students. And I'm sure many organizations will be willing to oblige. The policy for giving contracts in the public services, when one attains 60, is that the person should be in a position of a certain specialized skill, for which if he leaves immediately, they will have nobody to perform that skill. That is the policy. Unfortunately, it has been abused. And so anybody who is reaching 60 is not yet ready to retire, even though there are people who are as experienced as him, just right behind him, go and ask for an extension of contract. And the Constitution says they can have 2 years, after that another 2 years, and then after that 1 year. So he's able to stay at work for 5 years. Now remember that being at work for 5 years is preventing some young people for 5 years from getting a job. And so we must discourage completely the issue of contract. If you join, know that the Constitution says you will retire at 60. Everybody should prepare for retirement. And what I believe will make it more transparent is that the Office of Head of Civil Service and Public Services must publish every year the number of people on contract and what job it is they are doing, so that we can tell whether it is a job for which nobody is available to do it. If we do that and we move all the aged people out after 60, you'll be surprised that we'll be creating like about 50 to 70,000 jobs every year to new entrants into the public services and the local government services. And so, in our case, we're going to make sure that every ministry and every agency publishes who are on contract and what they are doing as being on contract, so that we can tell if they have a specialized skill for which they must be there. If they don't have that specialized skill, then they have to go home. All of us should retire at a certain time. And when you retire, it's not the end of your life. You can come and join me in farming. I've been farming for the last how many years since I was voted out as president. And at least it earns me a little income, which when I add to my pension, I'm able to look after myself and my children. And so there are many other things that you can do. If you can move into the private sector, that is your problem. Or you can become an entrepreneur. And so those things are all there. E-blocks, I said already in the statement that we will finish them. I've spoken enough about e-blocks, so I don't need to make any comment again. We've put out a lot of literature on the 24-hour economy. Indeed, we have frequently asked questions, we call it FAQs, on the 24-hour economy. And so if you are interested, the one who has a question, I'm going to give you the link, and then you can go on that link. Actually, if you go on Submitting Facebook page, you see the FAQs on 24-hour economy. And every question that you are confused about, you'll find there. How do young people get credit to set up businesses? That was the reason for which I set up the Ghana Exim. The Ghana Exim was meant to direct credit to young entrepreneurs who want to start up businesses. If you remember, we also set up the Youth Enterprise Support Initiative with a seed money of 10 million Ghana cedis. And it was given to young people who were about to start their businesses. We're going to deepen that investment in young people's businesses so that, Charlie Butters, I beg you, can somebody move them a bit away so that those at the back can get? And so we're going to deepen those investments in young people's businesses. And what we're going to do is, we're going to, right now, the credits that is given by the Ghana Exim Bank is like nuclear secret. You cannot find the beneficiaries anywhere. There's no document that publishes which businesses have benefited. Under NDC, every year, Ghana Exim, in its annual financial returns, will list the beneficial companies that have received money from Ghana Exim. And we're going to make sure that most of those enterprises are enterprises that belong to young people who want to become entrepreneurs. For existing companies that have, and that goes to the next question about support to young people who want to make fruit juice and other businesses like that, and only need equipment, you're entitled to exemptions. And so if you register under a policy and you bring in your equipment for your factory, you're supposed to be given an exemption to be able to clear those equipment without duties and levies. And so we'll just enforce that. And that is what the youth ministry is for. Because the youth development ministry will compile a list of those entrepreneurs. And the youth development ministry will give them to the Ministry of Finance, which will apply for the exemptions from Parliament for those business people, so that they can get the exemptions to bring their equipment in and do their business. It's the same as the issue of duties and levies, as I said, exemptions. Then the youth policy. Like the lady said, a lot of people are not aware of the youth policy because the sports ministry is not interested in making them aware of the youth policy. As I said, the combination of sports and youth is making youth development suffer because the sports ministry is concentrating and focused only on sports. And even in the sports fraternity, there's a complaint that they are focusing only on Black Stars and football, that's all. When Black Stars are playing, money must be found anywhere to finance the Black Stars. So by the time they finish Black Stars and even look at the Black Queens football and look at the other sports discipline, youth falls a long way behind. And that's why you say we're moving all youth issues to its own ministry, where 24/7 the minister and all his staff are going to concentrate on youth development, employment opportunities, and support to youth entrepreneurship startups, digitalization, and education. And that's why I said it's going to be a cross-cutting ministry, because it's going to cross-cut health, it's going to cross-cut education, communications, agriculture, and almost every ministry. It will be a cross-cutting ministry. But it will have somebody who's attending to youth matters 24/7. It will be a 24-hour economy ministry. That's it. Next.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, time is not on our side, and unfortunately we can't take all the people in the queue. I was going to take just one. Can we add on a few? All right, so with His Excellency's permission, we'll take the last 3 questions. And so the last person will be Somaila. So thank you all. I think you can follow the conversations with His Excellency on other platforms. So we'll take the last 3 questions. Thank you.
I'm a practicing nurse, and I'm also a health tutor in this institution. Mr. President, I believe there's a health challenge in our country. The issues of mass exodus of nurses into other countries, coupled with the high rate of unemployment of nurses. I believe there's an irony in this country relating to health. We train a lot of health students, we train a lot of nurses. Ironically, a lot of the facilities, health